MMA fighting here with Joseph Benavidez, current contender for the flyweight division, taking on Diego Figueiredo.
February 29th, world title.
We're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the Oscars. Looking back on 2019, I was told by a few people to pull you aside to talk about this. I think you know a thing or two about movies, so.
I love movies, yeah.
So the Oscar nominations were just released. What did you make of them? There's some controversy regarding who did and who didn't get nominated. So initial thoughts, I'll say.
Initial thoughts. I mean, I was surprised Joker got the most nominations, even though that was the movie I enjoyed most this year. So my number one movie. But I was just surprised at a lot of the ones it got. All I honestly care about right now, because the Oscars are going to go a certain way. There's movies that you might like better that maybe don't fit the mold or whatever. So all I honestly care about is that probably winning, Joaquin winning Best Actor for the first time. It'd be cool to see Pitt win supporting. And then I'm a big fan of Honeyland, the documentary feature. That's probably my 5th favorite movie of the year. So I'm in with those. Other than that, it's one of those things I can say this and say that, but it's you can't control kind of what they're going to do every single time. So my biggest takeaway from a lot of the public were very mad that J-Lo and Adam Sandler didn't get nominated. I think that would have been great. I think it would have been nice to invite these people to that table of Oscars, but I don't know if it was the stigma behind the comedian and, her being a stripper and a singer. I don't know what it was, but I definitely think J-Lo deserved it. She was incredible in it. But I'm going to go maybe with unpopular opinion. I don't think Sandler should have been nominated. I liked Uncut Gems. I liked his performance in it. Punch Drunk Love is his best movie, I'll say that much. But the only actor of the lead acting roles that I didn't think should have been there, so there is one I don't think should have been there, is Jonathan Pryce from Two Popes. Right. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, or Anthony Hopkins in Two Popes. But I would replace him with Taron Egerton from Rocket Man. Yeah. I would replace him before Sandler. So even if he got snubbed, I think the next in line should be Egerton playing Elton John before Adam Sandler anyway. So I don't think he was supposed to be there. I think that just ends up being 5 better acting performances. The only other one I had a bit of a problem with was the supporting actors. I think they went a little far too into the legends. If you look at that the nominees, Anthony Hopkins, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks. You can't name 5 better actors, but I think I can name personally 2 better performances that belong there. I would actually take out Pesci, and I would take out Anthony Hopkins, and I'd put Shia LaBeouf and Honey Boy. Yeah. Incredible and very deserving, but that should also get an original screenplay. I think Oscar as well. And I would put in the other supporting actor, Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse.
So Lighthouse is my favorite movie
of the year? Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's actually in my top 10, but it was one of those movies, everybody told me how good it was before I saw it. So I was sitting there waiting for everything good when it was just good. You know what I mean? But I will admit that after I saw it, I liked it a lot better 2 days later, because I was still thinking of the madness. So I'm glad they got a nominee and weren't shut out. But yeah, I think Willem deserved that for sure. I'm glad they got the cinematographer nomination as well. What other ones would I see snubbed? I actually just watched Midsommar for the first time last night. That should have at least got a set design nomination and maybe cinematography.
Well, just looking at it from my perspective, I was surprised Lupita Nyong'o didn't get nominated, because she played 2 characters in one movie for us. So I know a lot of people are disappointed in that. So what is your take on Best Actress for her?
Best Actress for her? You know what? I wasn't a huge fan of Us, but her performance was...
Don't tell Casey that.
Huh?
Don't tell Casey Lyden. Really? That was one of his favorite movies.
I won't tell him. I mean, I think just naturally compare it to Get Out, and then I like to Get Out more.
Same.
But I haven't watched Us again, so it may be one of those ones that get better on a second viewing. Her performance was incredible, honestly. I'm trying to think of the actresses and who she would replace. Obviously, Renee Zellweger is going to win. I'd never replace Saoirse Ronan with anybody because she's the best. Because she's like my favorite actress right now, so I wouldn't replace her with anybody. Scarlett Johansson was better than Lupita Nyong'o as well. So that's three. You know, I honestly just don't see who she would replace. But her acting performance was Oscar caliber for sure. So you can't say that. But like I said, like it's hard to snub, like to call snubs because they do a certain thing. You can't like get that. You have to expect a certain thing also at the Oscars. You know, like you always know going into it, like that performance was incredible, but they're not going to get nominated for an Oscar. So there's a million of those. So I always just tack it up to that.
So you say Renee Zellweger will win. Joaquin Phoenix will win, I'm assuming, is what you're predicting.
That's the only one I'm rooting for. So my wife likes to make fun of me because when people win Oscars, she is like, do you know them? And I'm like, no. And she's like, why are you so like when Christoph Waltz won for Django, I was like, yes, Christoph. And she's like, excuse me, like, do you know him? I was like, no, I just didn't think he was going to win. I'm so happy for him. So, you know, you have people you root for. Like, I still, like, I hold grudges also, though. Like, I don't like Dallas Buyers Club because the two actors beat out Wolf of Wall Street. They beat out Wolf and Leo and Jonah Hill, where I thought they were much more deserving as a lead and a supporting. I thought they were better than McConaughey and Leto. So I hold it some against that. No Country for Old Men might be an amazing movie, but since he beat There Will Be Blood, which is one of my favorite movies, for Best Picture, I'm like, I don't like you. You know what I mean? So you always want to have those people I root for. This year, specifically, though, is Joaquin Phoenix for Joker. I mean, I think it's his 4th nomination. Yeah, and he is 100% like deserving.
Well, what about Antonio Banderas' performance? Because a lot of people put those two as the front runners.
Yeah, I haven't seen Pain and Glory, and I'm so upset that I haven't. So before we get into more, because I want to give a top 10 of the year too, just personally without the Oscars nominations, because those are other people choosing, you know, what you should like. For me, the movies I have not seen are that I want to see. Pain and Glory and Portrait of a Lady on Fire, as far as foreign movies. And then as far as American, like more popular movies, Richard Jewell, because my buddy Paul Hauser is the lead in it. And a lot of people said he got snubbed for a lead actor as well. Jojo Rabbit I haven't seen, and that one...
Arjo, 2 noms to get one.
I know, and I think I think that was one that might fit into my top 10 if I was to watch it. And then the other one I haven't seen is 1917. So those are the movies I haven't seen. With that being said, my top 10 movies, if we can do this, of 2019 that I have seen, I have nailed down in order. Number 1, Joker. And that is the movie I enjoyed the most during it, felt the most after, was just most engaged with. And you can talk technical aspects all day or whatever people want to say, because I know it's very polarizing as far as like, you know, some people just think it's the worst thing ever. Some people think it's the best thing. Like, you can't discuss how you like feel about the movie. And like, I went with a good crew. I was engaged the whole time. I thought about it days after, everything. So that's number 1. Number 2 would be Parasite. Incredible. Probably win Best Foreign Picture, although I kind of want Honeyland to win there too. Number 3 would be Marriage Story. Incredible. Because I remember that day I saw 2 movies that I was looking forward to, and then like I loved them, and then I saw Marriage Story and I was like just blown away the day it came out. So that's 3. Number 4 would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Excellent. I think that might win Best Picture, which is the hardest one for me to pick right now. I don't know. It's so Hollywood, and it's such a homage to movies that maybe that's going to help the movie people like the movie. Because it's almost like you can't beat movies. That was the message I took from it. Like, he changed the story of like, these guys tried to ruin movies, but like movies always win no matter what. like Hollywood one. You know, they killed the hippies or whatever. And I thought that was the bigger message in it. And it's so Hollywood that I think people like it. So that's number 4. That's where we're at. Number 5 is a documentary, Honeyland, from Macedonia. It's up for Best Documentary Feature and Best Foreign Picture. Honeyland is incredible. I've seen it twice. And like, to me, stranger than any fiction you could look. Like, I see images on there and I can't believe those are existing in the same planet as us sometimes. Sometimes there's scenes with no dialogue whatsoever for stretches of 10 and 15 minutes, and I just am like amazed, mesmerized the whole time. Honeyland is number 5. Little Women is number 6. Love Little Women. Lady Bird from from Greta Gerwig, and my favorite movie of the decade. So 2010 to 19, Lady Bird is my number 1 movie, and that was actually my first foray into anything Little Women.
Really?
Because I went because of them. I love Chalamet, I love Saoirse, and I loved Lady Bird. I loved it. I was like, what a story! Like, no wonder that's a classic story. Obviously, it was great. The homage to the author in it, if you haven't seen it, is incredible. That's number 6. Honey Boy, Shia LaBeouf, number 7. Waves, number 8. Waves is Kelvin. Well, Lucas Hedges is actually in it, but there's 3 Sterling K. Brown. Mm-hmm. He is the dad in it, but some of the best performances of the year. It's very lot of style, big sensory overload. But I really enjoyed it. Great music as well. They somehow got Frank Ocean to release his music in the movie. So that was like cool. It was a real hip, like kind of young movie. It's almost in vein of like a Euphoria show, but for a movie. But it was awesome, and it had Yeezus song in it, and it was great. That's number 8. Number 9 would be Uncut Gems. And number 10 would be Peanut Butter Falcon.
So then what's the movie you've seen that you're most disappointed in? Like, you had all this hype, maybe you were expecting something and it didn't live up to your expectations.
Well, I've seen the movies that a lot of people would put in their top 10. I wouldn't necessarily say I was disappointed. Like, Irishman was good. It's an honorable mention. The Lighthouse was great. It's an honorable mention. Midsummer. I'm not a big horror guy, and it wasn't really a horror movie, but I enjoyed that, just mainly visually. So I wasn't disappointed in any of those ones. Which one was I disappointed in? High Life? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say I was disappointed in that. It just didn't make my top 10. You know what I was actually, well, even like The Farewell, I saw that. I still can't say I was.
That's the one people were a little sad Awkwafina didn't get nominated.
They were mad,
right?
yeah. They were, they were sad she didn't get nominated, and like the director and everything. But I wouldn't say I was disappointed in that either. I didn't like it as much as I maybe wanted to going into it, but I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I can't think of one where I was just like, what a bust. Mm-hmm. I mean, if anything, you could say Irishman, because you had a lot riding, like that had more riding on it than any, but I still enjoyed it, just maybe not as much. So if you look at like the distance between how much I should have enjoyed it to how much I did, maybe The Irishman, but it's because the bar was set so high. And it was still a good movie, you know what I mean? Lighthouse, initially, I didn't love it, but then like 2 days after, I was like, that was wild. And Willem Dafoe 100% deserved Best Supporting Actor.
Well, there you have it, folks. Like Joseph Benavidez, movie extra. I could tell you were real. You want to talk decade? You said Lady Bird. So, best performance of the decade.
Best performance,
like male, female.
Best performance of the decade. Well, I'm thinking of my top movies, and I'm trying to go from there. Best performance of the decade. I have my. Shit, I mean, Joker's up there.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Yeah, I mean, the performance is incredible in the Joker, and that's something. I'm trying to think of my favorite movies of the decade. Saoirse Ronan is my favorite. Lady Bird is my favorite movie, and you can't say her performance is this, but like,
you seem to have fondness for Wolf of Wall Street too, right?
Oh my God, that might be the best performance of the decade. Is Wolf of Wall Street, because that's my 4th favorite movie of the decade. And so that it could very easily be up there. Is what Leo and Wolf of Wall Street is just electrifying. So yeah, actually, I'm gonna go with that because that is one of my top movies, top 5 of the decade, and the performance is just otherworld. Like it's incredible. So yeah, I'll give it to Leo.
Well, we'll make sure to look back on this after the winners are announced, see how close you were, how close you actually were. But thank you for the time. We could talk about you for hours about movies.
All day. Podcast. Let's do it.
We'll talk later. Well, good luck on your title fight too. By the way, appreciate you.